Good evening. I'd like to call to order the March 26th meeting of the Stewart Fire District Board of Water Commissioners. If anyone is recording this meeting, please let yourself be known. Otherwise, we'll do roll call. David Chubbuck here.
Scott Horsley here.
And Commissioner Robinson is expected, but not here yet.
Nope. Hello. Hey, Carol.
Carol, any public comment?
Just in time for public comment. Any public comment on the Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom.
Bill fine dispute, Mr. William Cole. Is he planning on attending in person or?
He was either going to be in person or on Zoom, but we do not have him either place right
Do we
now.
want to postpone, Mr. Chairman?
Why don't we
Give him a chance.
We'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
Postpone. Why don't you move right to the water quality report? Superintendent Watson.
Yes, water quality report. As you see in the packets there, we did have some sodium testing done. We fixed it.
$325.
Just being funny.
We had to do one sample for station 4 there. It was done a little earlier, if I remember right now. It's that on there, it's been indicated being done.
Mhm.
Okay. The date was a little different, but all of our stuff came in well below. I don't know what's going on with the last, that was the lowest I've seen in a long time.
It only snowed once this winter, right?
Yeah.
Although travel time from Route 28, you have to ask Tom, but I'll bet you it's more than, might be more than a year.
More than a year. So it's
Maybe,
not-
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You
grab
know,
that.
I'd be, you know, when we do it again, we're doing it quarterly right now, I believe. And when we do it again in July, you know, I'm expecting just to see if this is a fluke or not, but, I actually called him up and asked him about that 7.4 there that's on the results. I said, I've never seen it that low. I said, why is 7.4? I said, why is it a 0.4 instead of just an even, a whole number also? And he said that if it goes below 10, that's how they do it.
Hmm.
And so it's, that was a true reading that they had.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
Station 3 is the one on Main Street behind the.
And it's always been lower than the others anyways.
But that's the first time we've been in the single digits,
Yeah,
like ever.
never.
Wow. So that's encouraging.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're about 2,000 feet from Route 28. For the foot per day, that's 2,000 days. It's faster than that. It's kind of pumping, so I'm guessing it's at least a year. So that's the tricky part of the sodium data is we can't really match it up to. I mean, it's a good. It makes sense, but I think we can ask Tom. But I think this travel.
Jen, do you have them in front of you?
Yep.
Well, can you tell me that averages on the top?
What the average is? I can if you would like me to
No,
pull
I do
up
not.
the spreadsheet.
I'm sorry.
What we really want to know is if those results are
Correct.
consistent.
Correct, we'll find out. I really don't want to retest right now on them, but, I think that we do it quarterly enough now. I think that'll be sufficient enough when we do the next to see if that was a fluke or not, you know, whether it's the type of year or anything like that.
Yeah, I see no need to retest. I mean, if it was exceptionally high, I might, but, we'll take the good news and stay on the quarter.
All right, other than that, all the form that we took came back negative. Everything met parameters.
So Chairman, I want to add one other thing. You're pointing a big one because this subdivision here, what's it called again? Is that Maryland?
Mariner Circuit, yep.
That is well within 50% a year.
Yeah.
Because the groundwater speeds up as you get closer to the well.
The inclination.
Correct. So who knows? That's town roads. Yeah. I may salt the heck out of that. So we might be right.
14.48 is that average.
That's it.
14.48.
Yeah.
Hello there. How are you?
Commissioner Robinson. Good evening. We're in the water quality report.
Low sodium numbers. But we stop worrying about it then.
Record lows. You fixed it with your meeting.
I was eating on it.
Yeah.
Who says BD still don't?
Is that it for water quality, Chris?
Yes, it is.
Would you move on to the superintendent's report, please?
I shall. All right, superintendent's report read March 26th, 2025 for February. February of 2024, we pumped 5,281,000 gallons of water. And in February of 2025, we pumped 4,977,000 gallons of water for a decrease of 304,000. So it all gets better. It was pretty cold in February, so I don't think a lot of people were doing much and other than showering and staying inside with their water and everything else. Association news, as I said last month, for New England Water Works, I'll be attending next week a conference in Worcester for a couple days. I did go to a membership meeting last week, I think it was a combined between Plymouth County, Barnstable County, and Mass Water Works up in Eastern Mass. One of the things we've discussed were the PFAS litigation that's going on and electric vehicles that some people are putting into their workforce. I guess we'll say. But some of them, like I think it's Cambridge, it has gone 100% by 1946, I think it is. They have trash trucks that are battery operated, you know, that are electric. And they're gonna be completely electric by a certain time. They have it mandated.
What was the purpose of talking about EVs again? What was it?
It was just, they were just talking about how it helps the energy efficiency and everything else. Yeah, to see.
Okay.
People talk about their experiences with it and everything else and how people are acting. And some people are saying, don't do it. Some people say it might be worth.
Well, since you're on Cambridge, and I noticed that the Situate Civic Association is here tonight, Cambridge also passed a ban on gas-powered leaf blowers.
Yeah.
City.
Wow. Carbon efficiency. Carbon efficiency. The only other thing on the association news, I did send out, and I thank you guys who did respond. Mass rural water in general is in jeopardy of being closed down. We've got a lot of help.
You get a lot of federal funding.
Yeah.
Most
So
of it.
yeah, a lot of it. And they were looking for some real help, so I had sent around an email to everybody. Everybody kind of sent signed a petition and everything else. Thank you for that. We didn't have any new services, replacement services or leaks during February. I brought up last month about the generator that we have and to find out if insurance would cover it and what would be taken and everything else. Insurance will not cover it. In our policy, it has stated right in it, will not cover nesting or infestation. So we sent them some pictures and it just showed the nests and it showed the dead rats, the mice around. They said if they had something chewing on the wire, then maybe we could cover it, but nobody caught them in the act. So we ended up having, it cost me or us, I think it's a little over $4,000 to have them come down, pick it up with a crane, put it in the back of a trailer, and they got it in New Bedford right now, assessing it to see what it can be done to either save it or to junk it. So we're without one down at one right now, but we do have backup at our other stations.
Chris, how old is it?
I'm gonna say they're not that old at all, but I know that they are, as I was here when they went in. I think they went in, I wanna say the 90s though.
That sounds old.
That's all. Yeah, do you know what the service life on those is? I mean, the life expectancy?
No, I mean, I don't know if it's 20 years old or not.
Can't imagine it's more than 30.
It might be roughly 20 years old, but, all of them were put in the same time except for Station 5.
Diesel
That
generator?
was put in, what, 10 years ago, Station 5? You were here, right, Jim, when that was put in?
That was the hazard mitigation grant that we got,
Yeah,
but I'm looking to see if I can see when Station 1 went in.
Chris, this is a diesel generator?
no, they're all, either propane or natural gas.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
20.
Same one at the, like, we have, it went in the same time as the one at the water department.
1, 2, 3, and 4 went in May of 2010.
2010, so I'm 20 years off. It was not that far long ago.
Well, I was thinking it is a long time, but these only run on emergency, right?
Correct.
So,
I mean, they run
theoretically,
it once a
should-
week.
They should last.
Yeah, once
I
a
mean,
week
there's
for an
some-
hour or half an hour just to make sure they start.
Some diesel engines on sailboats
Yeah.
that are easily 40 years old, still cooking. They don't use them that much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't have a lot of hours on it, put it that way, yeah.
As long as they're maintained and nobody gets in.
Yeah,
there
we have a
with the
yearly
wires.
contract. They come down twice a year, check everything, make sure everything's working.
Do you think you'll get a repair estimate before annual meeting, or should we anticipate a warrant article request?
I don't think, I expect to get something before the meeting, but I don't know if it'll be early enough to get into a warrant
Right.
on it.
That could
And
be a
if it is, they're
stabilization.
gonna have the
Yes.
pricing for it is gonna be over around $100,000 for one. They're expensive. as heck.
Need to buy a new one.
Yeah, so it might be something we wanna put off till next year.
Okay.
If we have to and everything, I don't wanna throw extra amounts if we don't have to right now.
But we're not exposed, or there's no real high risk over the summer
No,
months.
if I had another one go down, then I would start getting nervous.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I just, as a layman here, I've started using magic marker to write the date of which every new appliance comes into my house on the appliance. So as an old man, I'll remember, that boiler was metal. Oh yeah, it was 2019. You just pushed a button and you could figure all that out.
Hope you're using a permanent.
But wouldn't it be nice to just walk up to a machine and know when it was installed with a little note too?
They probably have it on the serial number, but you gotta check the serial number.
I have it in our history doc.
Let's see,
Contingency planning.
one of our articles that is going in is for the cybersecurity work that we have done. We put it in for 60,000. We have the chance for a $30,000 grant. I signed the paperwork on that Monday, and that went in. So we've applied for the grant now. I don't know when we'll hear from it. I don't expect that the state will get back to us too fast. But that is in there. If we find out before, well, we might have to have it available anyways for the grant. Sometimes it's a money forward, you have to have the money in hand to get the grant.
Reimbursement.
Yeah, it's a reimbursement thing, yeah.
Most of the state grants are like that.
Right. I'm gonna tell you guys also, W2 issue that's going on still has not been fixed, but Ray did address it on Monday night's Prudential Committee meeting. And they all have voted to look for a payroll company at this point. They're pretty upset.
This is the second year it happened?
Yeah, and they fixed it wrong when they fixed it. They took the deduction away from the wrong wages. So their fixing was even wrong on this. And when he asked him to correct it, the guy kind of refused to in the beginning. He said, after being told no, I had to insist upon it, and they finally agreed like 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow, that they would send us out new ones and, or through it, and they still haven't showed up. He goes, any way to get them put in any faster? And they said, you'll be put in line with the rest of the requests. So it's not
And
the
this-
greatest thrown into big, huge companies, I
This
guess.
this is paychecks.
Yeah. The last thing I have on here, as I said, one of the things that we discussed over there was litigation. Was on the PFAS litigation. It wasn't our company, the ones that we have using, but one of the people that are also in the same lawsuit. Another representation, Napoli, I think the name of the guy was. I got a little more information from that. I just signed in the next two, Tyco and BASF. I just confirmed all the information and sent that to them, all the confirmation yesterday. Has to be in by the 8th of April. So I sent it to lawyers and everything, and so we've got all the paperwork in for the second set of checks that are coming out. To tell you a little more about how it's gonna work now. Right, between what I found out, they have 5 companies that they have settled with. One has filed chapter 11 and is bankrupt. Kidd and Fontel or something like that. But DuPont has signed up for quite a figure. Not as large as some. We will be getting sometime in the next 2 months, a one-time check from them.
It will be.
Yes,
Any clue on how many zeros?
no. I was told that we'd be happy with what we get. I was told, you know, it will be nice. Over 100, I would say.
Over what?
Over 100, that we should be getting. Yeah, and I don't know if that was between 3M and DuPont or what, but DuPont is a larger settlement. We're gonna get a check for 40% of our payment. And
Which
then we're gonna
company?
get another check for 20%,
Which company?
DuPont, excuse me, 3M.
40% of what payment?
With the agree, with what they have, our percentage of what we got, like, they've settled to a certain,
Yeah.
amount. So their amount is much larger that they've sent to, and they don't want anybody to go into bankruptcy. So they'll be paying us 40% in the first quarter and 20% in
This
the
is
next.
separate from the 100 grand
Mhm.
you mentioned?
Yes,
earlier?
it's another check.
How much money might that be?
They haven't said the exact amounts yet. Of course, I could find out if you want, for exactly how much.
This is
You know,
what it
and at this
is.
point,
Huh?
yeah.
It is what it is.
I understand,
Yeah.
but it'd be nice to know if we have a
Yeah.
sense of what might be coming.
The
Buy
remaining-
a generator with it.
Right?
The remaining 40% is gonna be coming yearly through 2026.
Okay.
Or 36, I think. It's supposed to be over the next 10 years.
Does that
We'll be
money,
getting that paycheck.
where does, where does that money go into the general
Correct.
fund of the
Yep.
district?
Yep. The two that I just sent in information on, the BASF and Tyco. BASF is gonna be another one-time payment, and Tyco is gonna be 2 different payments over 2 to 3 years. So, other than that, there are still 12 more people that they're, talking to right now. And in litigation with, and trying to come to an agreement with.
Are these federal nationwide suits where our share
This
is?
is a class, yeah, this is a combined class action suit against the makers of.
So if we're getting 100 grand times, how many water districts are there in the country? Is that how much money we're talking about? Yeah, it's a lot of money.
No, there's 300 something billion that,
Yeah.
million
Okay.
that was,
Okay.
given for some of these. 36 billion, I think, a million was for, DuPont, and I think it goes up. I have the paperwork at the shop, at my office that tells exactly how much they settled on, and we get a piece of the pie.
Okay.
Same thing as we did with the MTBE, we went in together, and we ended up getting 1.3 million out of that. It was quite a bit.
Okay.
Other than that,
New hire?
yes, oh, jeez, I didn't even put that down. We have, a new hire. His name is Keegan Duvall. He lives right now in Marcus Mills. And he's been there for 1 week, 2 days, and keeps coming back every day and is happy to do it. He seems very good, working out nice. He actually applied before to the water department, and he was like a second place candidate at the time. So we're happy to have him. He seems to be working out real nice, and we're happy.
Good.
Everybody is, he's, you know,
We're happy if you're happy.
thank you very much.
We were talking earlier how long it's been since he's hasn't been on shorthand. Yeah, it's
Oh,
been
yeah,
almost a year.
it's been longer without than it has with.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically have had an employee for what, 5 months out of the year?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, 5 months out of the year.
15.
Yeah,
How's he doing with licenses? It's too early to say.
it's too early to say, but, yeah, you know, I'm sure if I called him tomorrow to go to a class tomorrow, he'd do it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Chris, you want to move on to the budget meeting update from Monday night?
As you know, we had to give our presentation for our budget to, financial committee on Monday night. Everything basically, they had no questions on really. The only thing they really questioned was, asked us if we could set the salaries at between. They would like to see a 1% instead of 2% merit increase and a current percentage. They would like to have that combined and see what the percentage was for a raise.
Yeah.
So that was the only comment about it. They didn't say yes, they didn't say no, they just said, okay, we've got it, thank you. We did explain something, and that's something I kind of talked to Dave a little bit about. I'd like to mention to you guys also. We have increased, as you guys voted on, the on-call up to around 375 right now for the guys, because they've been doing it every other week or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. We only had the 2 employees. So we give them a little extra because it's so demanding on them and they haven't been able to really do anything. After this was done, I found out through the grapevine and calling around a little, at what we're giving them now, it's lower than most of the people that are around, that are directly around us. We were giving them $250. Barnstable Fire gives $350. Mashpee gives $400 a week plus 3 hours minimum callback if they get called in, instead of like us, it's straight time. It's just time and a half. We don't have any kind of a minimum. Com does it all over overtime, so that it's not included in their salary. And if I worked it out at the pay that my guys have, if we did it close to their way, they would be getting, without talking about overtime for doing the checks, $700 a week to carry the phone. So we kind of are under doing it at 250. And I know we put in the budget at the 375. I would like to, if we go back down, we have the money there, put it to about 350. So at least we're competitive with Barnstable out there. I'd hate to have anybody walk away because they can give it overtime.
So the budget number that we're requesting at $19,500 for on-call, how does that break down?
That is just 52 weeks at 375 if I remember right.
375,
Yeah. We budgeted for worst case scenario with the new hire.
right.
We don't have to give an answer tonight. It's just something I would like to do and you know, let you guys think about it a little and everything. I will tell you that on the Cape, on-call gets paid a lot of money. Because everybody's required to stay within a certain distance and everything else.
So Mashpee's at 450, Barnstable is at 350?
Barnstable's at 400 with a 3-hour minimum call, if they get called out.
Mashpee.
It's at 400. Barnstable is at 350. And Com is would be over $700, not even talking about what they get paid for overtime to do the checks.
Right. Okay. Let's see, there wasn't any pushback or any of the capital expenditure requests. The truck, 75,000, the HVAC. There was some questions about rebates on from the state.
Yeah, they were asked-
But
Yeah,
that's not, I don't think that's doable because our heating there is gas, correct? And there's no rebates on that. And the cybersecurity, you've already gone over that, 60,000, but we may get a grant from the state. That's not a federal, correct?
Yeah. it's state, yeah.
And the printer copier, they didn't give us any guidance as to whether that should just get expensed or put into the warrant.
No, they was okay, yeah, they just, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was it. It was pretty smooth sailing. And they asked us to send them a copy of the annual report.
That was submitted February 24th.
Really? Oh, thank you. You're well ahead of everyone.
She sent it again to him.
I did recently.
Any questions about the budget and stuff?
No, I can just remember to send Ray a copy too of the cybersecurity assessment.
Then moving on in old business, source water protection, test wells, CWMP update, Commissioner Horsley.
Okay, so I guess what I want to talk about. Focus of what I want to talk about tonight is this area, this circle area, primarily septic systems that flow directly into our well field. And that them remaining on Title V septic systems is a bad thing for us. I think that could be a variety of chemicals that we're not even testing at low levels. Could be PFAS, whatever. So I've been kind of focusing on it. Remember when we did the source water protection plan with my students, that was something they targeted. So there are three options to deal with this issue. One is we talked about upgrading septic systems to some of the new IA systems. The challenge there is we're not sure they will actually remove these other chemicals. Some of them, but probably not all of them. Option two is to wait for the sewer to come down Route 28. This area is on the town CWMP plan, but it's going to be a while before it gets there. It's hard to say. We've been having meetings every month and there's a lot going on, but my guess is it's at least 10 years and could be easily 20 years. But I don't know. We don't know. And by the way, Rob Steen, who's the DPW director, assistant director, has offered to come to speak with us if we want him to about that. So that's option two. Option three, we talked about this briefly when our rep came in here, Chip Diggs, is designing a smaller scale collection and treatment system. And at the last meeting, I suggested that I go out and get a proposal from a firm that I'm working with, and I think highly of PhD. And they have given us a proposal to do a preliminary conceptual design of what it, and cost, what it would take to put a system together to collect some or all of those homes. We would be partly responsible for helping them identify some potential treatment and disposal sites. I told them we have some pretty good people on board here that can look at parcels, what's available, but they would put together sort of a conceptual plan and come up with a cost estimate. My feeling is it might be a better alternative than going to the Hyannis treatment plant for a variety of reasons, one being expense. Another one is just sustainability, pumping wastewater all the way from Katuah to Hyannis. I question as a long-term good idea in general. So at least having an alternative cost to look at, I think might make sense. So I asked Anastasia Rudenko, who's the engineer that I work with quite a bit, put this proposal together. It would be $8,600. Includes a kickoff meeting with us and then a final presentation and an analysis of the area and a plan. And my thought would be once we get that, we could then take it to the town and try to compare this versus the central sewering thing going to Hyannis. And we at least give us an option. And the other advantage here, we could probably pull the trigger on this a little bit quicker if we wanted to. This could be, and probably would be, still a town functioning system, and it would be fundable through the standard SRF, state revolving fund grants. not grants, financing, excuse me, and other potential grants, so it could be owned and operated by a separate entity, but my guess is it would probably still be a town facility. There are plenty of examples of this, Mashpee being one, where the town has one treatment plant, but they also have satellite treatment plants. So this would not be totally unique to have a separate facility. So we have a proposal. I am recommending that we do it. It's something we've been talking about, and entertain questions and thoughts.
Is this gonna be like in the well field, is that what you're saying?
Could be in the treatment plant?
Yeah,
Don't know. We did talk about potentially there's a place on our parcel outside the zone two. We talked about Paul. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm putting the specs on there. This represents our parcel, right? You don't know that?
yes,
This area is outside the zone two.
correct.
So that would be potentially something, but I'm not proposing that. Part of the analysis is to look at alternative sites. So it could be, and it would probably, bringing treatment plant in the zone two makes it a lot more expensive. You have to go to a higher level treatment. So we're probably looking for a parcel, what's that? Outside zone two. And the idea would be to collect this wastewater here, pipe it somewhere, treat it, and then discharge it to the ground.
Into what, injection wells or how?
Probably just a standard like a large septic system, except with a wastewater treatment plant, you can get 4 times as much wastewater per square foot, so it's a smaller footprint. You could do an injection well, we're actually looking to do that in Truro.
So they wouldn't be exposed lagoons like in Hyannis or anything?
Sorry?
Lagoons like in Hyannis?
No, you wouldn't want to do that. That's old school. Subsurface, like a big Title V system.
Because we got neighbors there.
It would be below ground, they'd never know it was there. Although we'd need to put the treatment plant somewhere, but these treatment plants are also being built very small, no smell, no noise.
Yeah, I know that some of these things say like, for watershed purposes and everything like that on the deeds and stuff like that. So I mean, this is basically watershed stuff. I mean, this is to protect the watershed. But the only thing I'm wondering, would that be owned by Katuah Fire District? But it would be on Katuah Fire District land? Or would we have?
First of all, we don't know where it's going, so this
Yeah.
is one example.
Yeah.
Problem with examples is everybody starts focusing.
Correct, right, yeah, no, yeah.
We don't know, so it could be any parcel.
Would this GHD study, I hope identify?
Yes, but I did tell them that we have some pretty good people here who can work with them and talk about ownership.
One of the things is, you need access, vehicular access.
To the treatment plant.
They're gonna drive all the way through the well field.
Again, I don't want to focus on that one parcel, it could be.
That's the cemetery.
That's the cemetery.
Yeah, good luck.
Could be, I don't know, who owns this land over here?
It's the horse farm,
It's the Coppins over there.
next to the horse farm.
Yeah.
It's BLT.
Possible, BLT's right there too.
This is the horse farm.
So this one's BLT?
And that's the.
And
They probably don't need more than an acre.
no, it'd be very small. Probably,
But you'd have to pipe it too, then you'd have to put some kind of road in through there for it or something.
you don't need the road going along the whole, you need to get a pipe in. so-
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I went to the Bush Brothers last week, I never go there, I want to see what it was. They have some kind of a treatment plant on the edge of the parking lot, and it stank as I was walking there.
You go stop and shop sometimes in there too, and that's a different thing, that's like your, they have a aqua drone. Yeah, that's treatment right on spot, injecting it in, yeah.
So then all the houses in that Little River Estates would need to hook up to this new treatment
This
plant?
area?
No,
No, on the other side, you're talking the Little River Estates there, which is,
Narrow
Circle, it's called Little River.
Oh, it is?
yeah,
Well, and we don't even know how many, remember Tom Camberry's analysis identified like 50 or 60 homes, right?
yeah, right here.
And the advantage of the septic program, you know and target individual homes. With the sewage collection system, you obviously gotta run down the road. I'm thinking it's this area here is our primary target. There's probably 60 homes there, 50, 40, 50, 60 homes.
That's close to 100.
I think it's more than 40, 60.
There's two developments there. On the right is Katuitt Commons, right?
Yep. Well, this is one thing you look at is how many, this would be the target area. So how many are there?
Yeah.
What's the flow? And then that will tell you how big the disposal field has to be.
And we need the Board of Health to require people to hook up. We wouldn't give them the option. It would make sense to give them. the option.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and by the way, this would provide protection for our wells, but these wells don't pump 24/7.
No.
So when they don't, the nitrogen flows down into the bay. So the two advantages, part of this would be for the bay too. We'd have the double benefit, which is why it would be a logical town project.
Yeah, I mean, that's out of my field
Yeah.
whatsoever. I mean, I could let people into that well field to look around, but once it's up and about, that's somebody else's slice and somebody else's running it, somebody else's, I mean, that would be given over to the town, is what you're saying, basically.
Probably, or, I'm sure there's ways to grant the town access easement, whatever, or cut off a parcel if we need to, whatever.
Yeah, because those have to be tested every
If
day.
that was the site.
If it's in the cemetery, they already know.
I think this is Katuitt Commons. up here.
It
This
is.
is all Little River Estates.
Mhm.
But, if the sewer was coming out, it would really just be going here and here anyway. It's not gonna. The density doesn't make sense to, does it?
Mhm.
And the other issue.
Those are quarter acre lots.
Right.
Yeah.
CWMP update. The other issue with the treatment plan is they still don't have a disposal option. We've got a plan that covers, I forget what the flow is, but unlike most, it just doesn't, we don't have they're looking at a number of alternatives, but they gotta get rid of a lot of wastewater, so that's why I think, I'm kind of wearing two hats here, right, CWMP and here.
Right.
In my view, in either case, this makes sense to look at as an option. And I'm not saying I'm for it yet. But
Yeah.
until somebody does an analysis, it's just like, yeah, we could have done that, maybe, who knows? But maybe for $8 grand or $9 grand, we could have a pretty good fix. And I'm wearing my commissioner hat here. I really don't like those septic systems contributing to the water supply. So that's kind of the mission, is the sooner we can get that out of here, the better. Fortunately, we haven't had any problems, but as, what's her name? Laurel Schrader from the
Silent Spring.
Silent Spring Institute said if people on Cape Cod knew how much sunscreen they were drinking, they'd be very concerned.
Right.
There's plenty of sunscreen going down those septic systems. Some of those people put sunscreen on, go to the beach, and some of them take showers. Like almost all of them.
Mhm.
So what is really involved in what they need to do right now? They don't have test pits, are they?
No, all they're gonna do, you can read this, but it's
Conception.
basically identify how many homes, what the flow is.
Okay.
And then from that, they can get a footprint, we need an acre or half an acre, and then they're just gonna start looking for potential sites.
Okay.
And then depending on what the site is, do you need pump station to get there? Can you get there by gravity? Because that's a big variable in cost. And going to Hyannis from here is a big pump station.
Oh, yeah.
It was $5 million is the number I remember to get from this area. Just a pump station, no pipes, no treatment, just the pump. So they look at all that, and then they would identify some sites. Probably, my guess is they look at a couple, 3 options, sites. And then they give us a preliminary cost estimate. I think that's what we get for the study, and we get a report,
Yeah,
and we get to talk to them about,
I was looking a little bit at it, I just didn't know what they meant by a couple things there.
Well, I've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
One, I'm just gonna skip forward a little bit to the update on the enabling legislation.
Yep.
The bill has not advanced.
Right.
It has been renumbered.
Yep.
It's now House 2258. It hasn't even on the committee. I highly doubt we're gonna get it in time for this year's capital budget.
Right.
For district. I feel a lot more comfortable. This puts us into a whole new set of services. And the fire district is very constrained right now, and we're trying to open up that constraint to, with this enabling legislation. My other concern is we spend, $8,000 for one neighborhood without knowing what other neighborhoods are gonna follow. So, Katuah Commons, the area around Old Post Road, the center of the village, all of those at some point, according to CWMP, are gonna have to deal with Title V replacement. And we either hold our breath and wait 10 to 20 years for the town to tell us what. But what I would hate to have us do is identify a location, scope out the infrastructure for one neighborhood, and then 5 years later say, well, we gotta do it again. We're gonna go find another location for another satellite system.
Well, it's not, if I can jump in, it's not uncommon to do exactly that for from a townwide perspective, is to identify, in fact, that's, the CWP is phases, right? We're here, then here, then here. So that's not uncommon, and that's something, we could bring that up, I could bring that up with her to consider that. But my guess is these other locations like down here, I don't know, it may be too far, or this well over here is probably too far to get there. But I suspect what she could do pretty easily is, if we find a good site, she could look at it for 3 different phases of, is it big enough for everything?
Right.
Right, so at least go that far. It's a good thought, I mean, because maybe we want to ultimately try to do everything.
Then I'd like to go through the financing, who's gonna pay for Mariner Circle? What's gonna be their connection costs? Because the rest of the district,
Yeah,
the people who are outside of zone 2 are gonna say, wait a second, you're gonna hit me on my tax bill for one neighborhood.
Well, that's the way the town is doing it, though. They're cobbling together funding from all different sources.
cost share.
State revolving fund, 2% loans, betterments for the homeowners, taxes for everybody. So nobody's box is scored too deeply.
Yeah.
But I think if the town saw this as an opportunity to avoid some costs for extending sewers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think the town's gonna do this as part of the looking at other sort, they're pretty committed to the downtown sewer, and they got their plate full with that. But like I said before, the timing and whether it'll, some people are saying will ever happen, and the expense.
Yeah.
If we had a better alternative, might happen a lot faster.
Of course, the town CWMP is being driven for marine water.
Right, that's right. Well, not completely. That was how they started, but Rob will say they have seriously considered the drinking water areas on the ponds. But you're right, the original focus was the bays.
Because they ran the sewer up Strawberry Hill Road where Janet, my girlfriend lives, and her septic goes into Nantucket Sound. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's
right.
It wasn't being done for that. It was being done as a convenience because they were opening the road for the windmill cables. And they had the money from that, but it wasn't for any particular recharge area.
And David, the other thought, I guess, for your comments about the pending legislation, I didn't think about that. And unlike the septic upgrades, where we'd be going onto lots, maybe with us being the advocate of all that happening, this could be potentially, likely a town facility. We're just the advocates of the idea and getting it going, but then the town, I think my thought is the town would be the
actual operator of this?
It'd have to be,
Yeah,
Why?
why?
because they have a DPW that hires people to run machinery and.
I just get really concerned when the town starts looking at land
Hmm.
to put in treatment plants and then operate them. And we're talking an eminent domain, and the village loses a lot of control.
Hmm. Well, and also, this could be, I don't know if it's in here, but I'm sure Anastasia could talk about the institutional options too, whether it be done, I mean, it could be a private plant. There are private plants.
Right.
And they charge fees to homeowners, and, you know, that's one option. Another option is, if we get the legislation through, the district could do it. I don't wanna say that too loudly, because that's gonna freak people out. I'm not proposing that, I'm just saying, could it legally be an option? Sure. There are plenty of water and sewer districts, not uncommon at all.
Well, you know, the history of the districts
Yeah.
was, you know, the town couldn't provide fire protection to the village, so the village took that on to
Right.
themselves.
Right.
And then the town couldn't give us water, so that we put it on
Well,
themselves.
maybe wastewater is the
Town-
next
Well, it
one.
looks like the town's not gonna be able to get us.
That's
facility.
possible.
And I, you know, I think the consensus in this village is that sooner rather than later
For what?
to clean things up.
Yeah, well, and that's one of my main motives here. I'm on the committee, the chair of the committee, but
But
I
I
can't-
think it's it's a bigger topic, that this is gonna start the process rolling of that discussion. And I really wanna make sure that we have
yeah.
a good case to make to the district, that you may be looking at an expansion of not only fire and water, but wastewater.
Scott, would this study compare the cost of doing this sewering to the potential need for water treatment going forward, drinking water treatment or filtration?
They will not, I don't believe, they won't do the latter, but I think we had some
We have a
cost
study for
estimates for that. So we can make the comparison. We could, if we need to, we can go back to our.
20
wastewater.
million,
Yeah, I would
20
think
million
that-
for water
Yeah.
treatment.
So is this basically an infradrome system like you would get at something, or is it something?
Infradrome might be one of the technologies, but there are plenty of different technologies now that can do this.
Yeah, I know that like, Stratford Ponds used to be in our zone two,
Right,
and they actually moved out because they
Did they?
couldn't meet
the treatment
the
requirements.
treatment requirement for being in the zone two, so they moved just outside the zone of contribution there and went down so that they could actually have the requirements come lower. I just got something today that they're still having trouble meeting the nitrogen on there, and they just sent me something that, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep,
So how far, I think we go.
we get a report from them once a year, every month we get a report from them, but we also have a well in the middle there that's tested, I think it's once a year. Over there from,
Once a year or twice a year?
yeah, the other one is every quarter, I believe, or twice a year, over at the one at 671 Main.
Yeah.
671?
Yeah, I don't know if they have treatment capacity, expansion options, but that might be something we could ask her to look at. That'd be
I mean, there's a lot of land up there that we gave them an easement through our property up on 28 there.
Is this the zone to this column area?
Yes. Yes, it goes all the way up.
You think it's in here somewhere?
Yes, there's two. Yes. In Manatee.
That's, and it's not that far from here, so that might be.
Right.
I mean, this is exactly the kind of stuff you could look at, is give us, she probably might look at half a dozen options and then give us details on a couple.
I
three,
did notice on
five.
this, one of the things that it asked for too. I might be just catching my eye here, but, one of the district's responsibilities is, to arrange and safe access to make all provisions for GHD to enter upon public and private property as arranged for safe access and, to make all provisions. Is that making appointments with people? When you're talking about private, I mean, we were just saying that we still can't do work on it.
Private.
We're still, that might not even be done this year, or something like that. So I'd hate to, I don't want to, that's why I was asking about test pits. I've had machines out there and stuff, and
This would not be any field work, this is just, I suspect it to get access to property would just be to look and see,
yeah.
So don't we need the legislation to provide us with comfort that we can spend money like this?
Well, I would say no, because I think that legislation is to spend money on private property. We're not doing that. We're spending our money to try to protect the well by looking at some options to clean up pollution sources. They're not spending money on private property. I think that was
Well,
the
I
issue.
thought the intent was to look at expanding from water supply to water treatment.
Well, to give us more clear jurisdiction to do pollution prevention, but I think the key issue that I remember speaking with the attorney about was actually construct us spending money on private property. And then we were talking about upgrading people's septic systems. Now, if we were, the closest thing I think to this would be if we identified a private parcel for the treatment plant, then we probably couldn't do that. We'd have to let the town do it, but I don't think the goal here is to look for private parcel to do this on. It's to look at either public parcels or nonprofit.
Yeah, I was just thinking you would tell, if you're gonna feed it with something, somebody goes on private eventually, or the piping starts someplace, yeah. And those have to have so much of an intake to actually work, whatever the permitting is, I think. I know that, Stratford Ponds doesn't work as well in the wintertime as it does in the summertime. When the flow's a little higher and they're actually getting stuff through there and eating away, they like it better to have a higher, it works better to have a higher flow than a lower flow.
Does anybody have a copy of the bill?
Of what? Oh, the bill that we filed?
That Jen can find it faster today.
I mean, I can't imagine we're precluded from doing a study on options.
Well, we did a study on water treatment.
Yeah.
That's still related to the purity of the water supply.
Yeah.
This is related to the
Pollution
purity.
Let's see, an act relative to the fire district being enacted by the Senate, House of Representatives, and General Court assembled, and by the authority the same as follows. Chapter 328 of the Acts 1926 is most recently amended by Chapter 26 of the Acts of 2000, is hereby further amended by inserting after Section 5H the following section. Section 51, the Board of Water Commissioners may recommend improvements on private property with prior written approval of the property owners and seek funds by vote of the district to protect and enhance the quality of the water supply for the benefit of the residents of Katuitt.
So I agree with Scott. Doesn't preclude us, expands on what we're trying to do with this proposal.
I guess I'm personally not worried about trying to do something to clean up our water supply, and I suspect if we had a room full of people here, I think I'll take my chances with it. I think they're gonna say, damn right, you should do this.
So we have money in the engineering budget to pay for something like this.
There's enough in there, yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty short money, get some more information. I don't think it's the nose under the camel's tent. I think it's, you know, we did a study on water treatment and we decided to do nothing with it at this point.
Actually, thank you for saying that. This is, in a sense, not only is an alternative to the townwide source, it's likely an alternative to putting $5 or $10 million of treatment at the wellhead as well. Saving a bunch of money there. Because our primary sources of pollution are that.
Well, it's clearly the area that's closest and densest. You know, if you were designing this village from scratch,
wouldn't want that.
you wouldn't put it there.
Right.
The wells were there before the subdivision was, but in the 1970s, nobody understood.
Yeah.
Whereas he was still in grad school, he wasn't around here to tell us what to do.
For the bulk of the high school in the 70s.
I don't know, I don't feel strongly that we have to make a decision tonight. I sense the chair's hesitation.
My tendency is, or inclination is to put it in front of a public forum and you know, it's not the dollar amount that concerns me, it's the questions it raises.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not have a reaction in ignorance versus one that is done with some information.
Yeah.
It's a complex topic,
It is.
and I think people need to know what good work you're doing with the CWMP. Having Rob Steen come from the DPW and explaining that plan would help. But if I was a resident of Mariner Circle, and I found out that.
The rocks is being gored.
Yeah, right, I'm like, whoa, and I'm gonna dig up my street and, you know.
Well, not only that, but make charging or something.
I think that I'd rather have a public hearing on the topic.
It's unfortunately the densest and one of the more modest areas of the village.
Right, and I think prior commissioners have had problems with the, you know, the solar field in that area.
They were very touchy about that, that's for sure.
Can I, maybe one thought I'm having on that, Dave, is I have no problem doing a public forum, talking about one of the thoughts I'm having is, will we likely get questions during that forum that this would answer?
Chicken or the egg.
Or will we get a question of, should we be studying the village as a whole, or the fire district as a whole, so that we don't chip at the problem?
Well, maybe a general workshop with the Civic Association that has Steen come and explain his hopes and dreams for Katuitt and the CWMP, along with you and your committee members, whoever wants to come. This is another alternative. We've kind of moved away from IA systems. And then the fourth alternative is water treatment. Pollute the hell out of the groundwater and just treat it.
Yeah, I'd also like to see Crocker, you know, his economic analysis of the time to travel issue with IA, I think is very important. And vital information for people to have. These would be waiting for the big dig. It's not gonna happen. But I think Katuitt needs to start thinking about, if we're going to have these small systems, here's what the phase rollout looks like. This is why we target some neighborhoods before others. And C may come in and say, yeah, I don't know if you're concerned about the harbor, then you need to think about, you know, time to travel, et cetera. But I think it's a complicated issue. I'd feel more comfortable doing a big public session with the Civic Association, if possible. And get the experts in the room.
Yeah. Well,
This is a great start.
well,
And I'm, you know, I'm inclined to say, yeah, sure, let's start, but I think that let's just think a little more expansively. And I'd also feel a lot more comfortable if we enabling legislation.
so Scott, you're a doer. You want to get things done. But I think this is the first time we talked about this, and I sense enough hesitation that we should probably table it just for now, but keep it on the front burner.
I'd be glad to circulate a sort of straw man agenda for a public meeting and reach out to the Civic Association and see if we can get something on the schedule.
You know, at the risk of hoisting my own petard, I would send letters to everybody in Little River Estates saying, come to this meeting.
Right.
We want to explain to you why
Understood.
your land use and disposal methods, are we picking on you? Yeah, a little bit, and we're gonna show you the geology of why. And not tell them that anything particular is gonna happen immediately, but just that they should know what they put down their drain is more important than what I put down my drain.
Good point. Any other discussion on this?
Well, just, you know, you guys have talked about the test wells over there. I did talk with Tom. We have set up that every 6 months we'll go over there and test those. And we are gonna use the larger testing system that with a better fingerprint and everything else. I guess it's 64 types of tests instead of the 32 or the 26 that it is. So the stuff that Mark Nelson had suggested to us.
Good.
So I did talk to him on that, and we are scheduled to talk again in a couple months, so we can set it up.
Good, thank you.
By the way, everybody knows the county lab is now qualified to do PFAS.
Yes.
testing.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Doesn't have to go off tape anymore.
They did our last round of testing, didn't they?
No, that's great. The day I called him to get the pricing, he said, we just get done for this, and you wanna go, this isn't recognized by the state. We just got the information this morning.
Conservation restriction of school property. I
Yes.
have no update.
Okay, so I've been a little lax in recent months. I'm gonna take that responsibility and not wait for them to contact us. I will. Dave Anthony is the guy that I think would know about him. He and the attorney's office. I know them all, unfortunately. I will try to bird dog that this month and give you a report.
Thanks.
Why the town hasn't produced the conservation restriction that Jim Danhauser was working on 3 years ago. That's on the town-owned part of the school. We've kept it on the agenda here for years and we just don't hear anything. So I'm gonna say that we should be a little more proactive and rattle some cages and see if we can get any results. I mean, it's one of these things that's important, but it's not urgent. But it will just keep falling through the cracks farther and deeper.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay.
Enabling legislation update, I think we covered. Sodium workshop follow-up.
Yeah, I've taken on the conservation restriction.
Clearly sodium's down.
And sodium levels are down. Sodium levels are going down.
Good job, Mark.
I don't know what to do with that. I mean, we talked about making it a regional approach. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the time to coordinate something like that. I did tell you that the Cape Cod Commission has just gotten a little grant, $40,000 from the state to study ways to encourage water suppliers to deal with drought and using rates to help modify use. And I was just reading in Brewster today some strategic planning that they're doing, and the water superintendent said that he thinks that half of the water use is from irrigation.
Huh.
How could that? And they go from 500,000 gallons a day or a month, what would it be? To 4 million in the summer.
Yeah.
4 million in the summer a day times 30 days.
Jeez, mostly for lawns.
That's
higher
pretty
than
good.
you've ever done.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, no, we go from like 300 and something to 1 million sometimes, but that's only maybe 20 days a week,
And
a year.
And I know their rates are incredibly low, and they have wonderful water, wins awards.
Hmm.
But, so anyway, yeah, I'm off the sodium kick. I guess I was also kind of disappointed to think that chlorides are, as much, if not more of an issue. And they don't test for that as much as we do. So,
Well, the standard of chloride is 250 milligrams per liter, it's pretty high. I don't think we're anywhere near that. I don't know if we have chloride.
but there were
Yeah,
ecological effects.
Yes, there are ecological effects, right?
So I have all those notes from the workshop,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just left it feeling a little more at
Yeah.
sea than I did previously.
The New York Times, March 25th. Salty suburban roads are clouding the future of New York City's drinking water. New report finds rising salt levels and the water supply can make some of it undrinkable by the turn of the century.
Oh, great.
I'll share that.
So anyway, I don't know what to do about that, so I'm gonna ask you to take it off, at least in terms of my name next door.
Moving on to new business.
That's the advantage of being an elected official. You can't tell me what to do.
Review and approval of the last minutes. Commissioners have had a chance to review.
I had one little question, and it deals with Mark Nelson's advising on first page, the February 19th minutes, 2/3 the way down. There's he also spoke with Mark Nelson regarding the mapping of antennas. Didn't Mark say something to us like he felt there was a match? It looked like there was a match. Am I remembering that correctly?
No, he said that if we did it, then we would know better.
So he
Didn't say that there was a match when he talked to me. And I can look back into my notes from him, my email.
all right.
I'll check that.
I just don't remember. Okay,
I don't remember him saying that there is a direct
all right.
line.
So you're saying if we do this more expansive testing, we'll have a better chance to.
Correct. It'll tell, it could tell it better,
I think that's
what it
really-
is, whether it's, foam, whether it's
Yeah. Okay,
toothpaste.
then I have no edits. Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm not gonna forget.
Matters not anticipated by the chair.
I have two. What did you decide to do about the dispute?
Oh, yeah.
Did
No
you,
one ever, the guy.
First, I didn't.
oh, he didn't come, so you
Oh.
didn't press it?
I think we have to postpone.
Okay. The other thing is, when I was staying up last month and listening and watching as much as I could on this owl stinks.
What's that?
It stinks. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
It doesn't work. And we're gonna get complaints because all of the talking to those maps and boards,
Not visible.
none of it is audible.
So I think we should go back to the microphone system. If we're gonna do this hybrid, you have a big booming voice, but it's completely garbled.
It's meant
Is
for a
that
small
system working?
conference room.
I don't think this works
Well,
this year.
Maybe I'll just ask the question, now that
record.
we're in
Yeah.
good weather, do we really need to do hybrid? Or, I mean,
I got half the meeting, basically.
yeah, maybe hybrid,
And we don't need to see the people, we need to hear them better. We know what they look like.
so wouldn't it be better,
The recording that goes on YouTube of this meeting is inaudible.
is that right?
And so if someone tries to listen a day or two from now and see what we
Can't
talk
hear.
about.
But we had individual microphones at one point.
Yeah, that went to a system out back. I believe that broke. That's why they went to this.
And I asked the Prudential Committee to look into a satellite microphone for this, which I think exists. It was around on Monday night.
Yes.
But it's
Should we
still,
look into that and place it in front of us?
Yeah, it's an extension, so it's usually a little round.
We used that last meeting when you weren't here. We had that.
Doesn't work all the time either. I just had an email from Fran, so I responded to ask her if she knew if this recording system was functioning. Because without Owl or Zoom, even just using the mics, if that system's not working, we have no way to record the meeting. So it's not gonna matter whether it's clear or not anyway.
So what about not doing hybrid?
I asked Fran if this recording device is functioning, because if we get rid of Zoom or the Owl, even if we go back to the microphones, we'll have no way to record it. So it would matter at that point whether it was audible
I
or not.
propose we nix the hybrid for now.
Well, and in the winter season, we can go back to Zoom where everybody can hear everything.
Right.
So I think we should do, December through March on Zoom, and the rest of the time just in person. We're fulfilling our legal requirements.
And there's no requirement for us to do it hybrid, right? I mean, it's nice for people that can't get here, but maybe we could put a little thing saying, if you have something you want to contribute to the meeting, you can't get there, let us know, and maybe one of us can bring in, so give people an option to contact us if they can't get here.
Well, we
Do we
could,
have to record?
No, we only have to do
There's
minutes.
All we have to do is minutes.
Yeah.
Correct.
we have great minutes.
Extensive.
We have great
No, we did
minutes.
there.
and posted on a time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You may not be required to do audio, but it's always been there, even before COVID and going to this, and it was really helpful, because otherwise we have to wait more than a month usually to have the minutes. So, I would not go away from recording. I would encourage you, as I have done at the Prudential meeting, to ask the Prudential committee to put something in the budget to update the system here overall. There's technology that's in use at the Federated Church that provides for live streaming as well as, hybrid meetings. And if it really becomes an issue here, maybe you can see if you can have your meetings at the community hall.
I didn't hear the last thing you said. Maybe have the meetings where?
At the community hall of the Federated Church.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask, because that's something we could consider doing. Why don't we?
Some of the civic association is considering doing for candidates and budget night.
Yeah.
Because we did, everybody loved the full hybrid meeting, but then when we came back in person, last year we only did in person, because we knew we couldn't rely on the Wi-Fi here. It's a rainy day, forget it. And the amount of slides that happen at the candidate budget night, you have to be able to do both in person and screen and close and participate, complicated. So we went back to in person only, and a lot of people were like.
Is there any reason why we can't look into having the meetings over there?
Well, it's probably a charge for that.
I don't,
No charge?
not for a village, not for a district meeting,
Okay.
no.
Why don't we do that?
Sure.
But that's what if you have more input to Prudential for a budget to, put all that in, I think it would be a great improvement to Freedom Hall.
I would back that. Yeah, I would like to see this building continue as the community center.
But I would also, my other thing is I would get rid of all the pens that click.
Uh-oh.
Because you just don't even have them. That, the owl picks that up versus someone talking.
Huh.
And you already mentioned that the loud voices don't matter, you have to be close to the owl, and when you guys were turning around talking to the map. So that's like tonight, like I can't, the last couple people from the Civic Association that have waited to listen to the audio, we had to go to Jen to get to the notes.
Yeah.
Fran
Well-
did say the system does work. It worked Monday night, she said.
I mean, the acoustics in this hall are not great to begin with. There's a lot of echo. We all have deep voices.
But going to just audio, is also difficult for a all-male board. You guys don't, in the past, you don't identify when you speak, who you are, and so it's really hard to listen to. I mean, I've been listening to meetings, I don't know, I'm gonna say 5, 6, 7 years, and on the video really helped to determine who was talking, but it's not perfect. It's just in this hall, there are systems that, there are improvements that can be.
Well, I mean, then the fire commissioners still meet here.
Yes.
The Prudential committee does, so this building should be for all these meetings, but it doesn't make sense to pretend that we're being transparent if nobody can hear or see at the same time and recording. It's a small amount of money in the overall budget to fix this. I agree, I would like to stay here, but having now experienced it myself, I'm with you, Carol.
And then in regards to the, another comment from today in regards to Commissioner Horace's idea of having someone hiring someone to do a proposal, is I do also think it would make sense to do it for the whole district. Maybe get a quote as to what it would cost to do it for the whole district, if you're going to go to this public forum, so that it's not just, yes, these are our priority areas, but this is what it would cost to do, because it may not be significantly more.
We don't need the whole district treated. There's no point in
Right. Just a wellhead area, target.
Yeah, but the whole district at some point has to.
No, I disagree. I would
No,
say,
Mass DEP says Title V is
well,
dead.
when you say treated, you mean to meet DEP.
To meet DEP,
IA
at some point, everyone in the village
IA
has
systems.
to upgrade.
Right, but
Or
in terms of worrying about the water supply, this is,
Not relevant.
School Street. I mean, anything south of School Street. Nothing to do with the water. Supply. Nope. So. And, so this area is important for the bays. Not for the water supply. I'll take that home, I get it.
Anyways, it sounds like a great, third alternative. I continue to compliment you guys, to anybody who will ever listen, about what a wonderful water board we have. So thank you for serving, and I hope you will continue to serve in pulling papers, so.
Looking for signatures today.
Feel free to sign on your way out.
Yes. Thank you so much.
He's got to serve until he gets the Scott Horsley Memorial Treatment Plant.
Next meeting day?
I actually did hear you on public radio, or discussion of you on public radio.
He's the National Business Report.
Oh.
I've been on Air Force One many times.
Invitations.
4/16 would be the next third Wednesday. When's budget and candidates night, the 21st?
It will be May 20, Tuesday, May 20.
Yes, I do have one question sneak in. Do we want to, who's going to pursue this with Carol about, do we want to do the workshop? Did we decide that?
I will pursue.
You'll do that. Okay, we decided. Okay, cool.
The 16th. Yes, that works for me.
Yep.
You said May 22nd?
May 20th will be.
20th, I'm sorry.
The
Did you hear that?
election.
No, I'm getting too many echoes. 5:20, if you work before the
Candidates.
5:20.
candidates.
Budget and
You're the
candidates.
candidate.
And then,
5 what?
5:20.
20. Okay.
and then the
Candidates.
election is the 27th, and the annual district meeting is the 28th. And the parade is July 4th.
Okay.
It's 17th. correct? The next meeting?
16th.
Oh, wait a minute. April, I'm sorry, that's what, April 16th.
Too many water.
There it is. Water plants. Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much.
Would anybody like to sign my,
Absolutely.
thank you, thank you.
Is anybody else pulled?